In this video, I'll be going through the differences between writers who have grown up in cities and those who grew up in the middle of a cornfield. This will have a large focus on horror and use creepypasta for examples, but will include other media later on. We'll start with city slickers. The biggest and most constant thread I've seen in stories that take place in cities, non-Euclidean architecture. For the layman, that means structures that don't follow our known laws of physics within the third dimension. Endless hallways, repeating rooms, sudden isolation. A character will be living their life as normal in the city of the author's choosing, when out of nowhere, they've stumbled into a strange place. One that is filled with endless white walls, made yellow by the warm fluorescent lighting overhead, and untold miles of beige carpeting. Even their subway tunnels turn out to be an endless series of passages with exits leading into different realities. Now, you might ask, where are the creatures? Where's the crazed slashers? They don't exist. At least not here. In a densely populated area, to maintain the horror of a creature or killer who is targeting specific people is difficult in this setting. The more people to witness this strange creature or this psychotic killer removes the creepiness of it. There's more people to fight back, to expose it, to take away the mystery. So how do you tell a horror story in a city? You make the infrastructure itself the antagonist. Though one could argue the decay of current city structures is a horror all its own, bureaucracy is pretty scary. Some of this, I believe, comes from the mundane nature of the surroundings. One becomes so used to the sight of these buildings, the feel of them, that to turn it into an impossible area instills a deeper sense of horror into them. This is the heart of creepypasta after all, taking what is normal and making it paranormal. Of course, the effect of a given story is dependent on its writer and the subject. But taking something so fundamental to us, like the inside of a building, and especially those that have grown up in close proximity to these environments, and morph it into something alien, is how they get their kicks. For me, things like the strangers in the back rooms are more intriguing to me than scary, though that might just be me. Another key aspect to these buildings turned terrifying fettuccine is the isolation. You'll notice the author sooner or later almost always makes a note of the secluded and lonely aspect of where they are. After all, humans are social creatures, especially those that live in densely populated areas, where there is almost always someone within visual range, or some sign of life is present. To take someone very used to being in close proximity to others, and shove them into a place devoid of any living soul other than themselves, that's where I think a lot of horror comes from. I'd even venture to say that the idea of sudden isolation is more scary to these writers than the impossible architecture their character finds themselves in. I believe there's also an underlying question that isn't addressed nearly enough. In stories with impossible architecture, the question arises, where did it come from? Why is it here? Was this place built by man, but then tampered with by some higher power? Is it just a random cosmic event that took on the characteristics of where it occurred? If it is intelligently designed, is it a game, a test, a mockery of human invention? Now let's talk about the other side. For the remainder of this portion, to refer to Midwest, flyover, and southern states, I'll just be saying Middle America. Like city stories, there is a very prevalent aspect of Middle American stories: farms. From farmland itself to the equipment, many stories focus on silos, barns, the fields, etc. And there's a reason for that. Out here, that's what you see a lot of. Out here, the sky is unobstructed, the signs of human life are low, and the dirt road probably leads somewhere someone was killed by their drunk spouse 50 years ago. Out here, it's isolated. You learn to like the lack of human contact. You get a dog, a gun, and keep to yourself. For us, nature is our structure, So to have non-Euclidean trees, well, trees can look pretty weird all the time. This is why Middle American stories focus on creatures. The idea I put forward in Without a Trace, there are things in the woods we still don't understand. That's not just a sentiment I wrote to be poetic. That's a statement you'll get from a lot of people who have spent a considerable amount of time in the more removed parts of this nation. Whether through confused senses or genuine mystery, there are things out in the forest of the US that many communities will swear up and down defy our known world. This usually takes on the form of some kind of cryptid. Another way you can tell that a writer is from Middle America is how their main character deals with a situation. The name of the game out here is Self-reliance. The police are 10 to 20 minutes away, if not more, but your shotgun is only seconds away. That thing trying to bring down your front door isn't going to wait for the sirens and disco lights. But that is the result of where one lives. In many cities where gun laws are more strict, your mind doesn't go there automatically when a problem arises. It goes to the police, or a baseball bat. In Middle America, most problems are dealt with by a 10mm socket wrench or a bullet. I don't want to leave the impression that I think Middle American stories are superior to city stories. Far from. Some of my favorite movies and creepypastas take place in densely populated areas. But movies, stories, and games that take place in areas that remind me of where I grew up will always hold a certain value to me that cannot be fully outdone. Pen Pal is my top favorite creepypasta because it is pure, concentrated Middle America. How the main character in that story grew up, I experienced similar things. Minus the psychopathic stalker. I hope. My childhood house was a trailer. I broke my arm. I had walkie-talkies. I would play outside and get absolutely covered in mud and dirt. We had more than our fair share of cats and dogs run away. To end this video, there is one thing I find surreal out here. The wind turbines in the middle of a field, mixing the rustic farmland with the new and modern technology. Everybody loves to see an old abandoned grain silo in the middle of a field that hasn't been used in decades, and I'm no different. But to see a stark white metal and fiberglass fan in the middle of a brown and yellow field is almost otherworldly, or some kind of technological dystopia.